live in 5, 4, 3, 2. We're live.
Good morning, Owasso. This is the Twins with Owasso Live, and this is the Morning Loop. It is currently 8 a.m. like normal, and we've got a current temperature of 31 degrees with a high of 54 today, and it really doesn't feel all that cold outside. Like, there's no real wind, so there's not a real chill factor. Like, you could really go outside wearing a light jacket for the most part and not feel too bad. So, that being said, again, the high will be 54 today, so it will be light jacket weather for a majority of the day. Now, traffic conditions are fair. I mean, traffic is flowing very steady and smooth into Tulsa. There's no real
Traffic holdups.
traffic holdups at all, really. No congestion at all. It's just flowing smooth, steady pace, and there's gaps in between vehicle groups. So your commute's going to be really nice. So happy days for those of you who haven't left to go into Tulsa yet if you're commuting in. Now, as far as local events are concerned, there's nothing on the calendar. I think there's a ribbon cutting, and that's next week for a drip bar. So I'm sure Chad will be out there live streaming that.
Absolutely.
And that's really about it as far as the calendar goes. I mean, March is going to be a little bit more busy than February was for the Chamber and for Owassoism's calendar. So go check out the events and plan your weeks out in advance if you want to. Now, as far as national news goes, the news is the news, and remember, bad news sells and feel-good stories don't. So the unfortunate truth is, if you see the YouTube version of this later on, the thumbnail says, illegal immigrants murder U.S. citizens and also get 5-star hotels. Now, that's a little bit grandiose or, somewhat attention-grabbing, but rightfully so, because it is the truth. Now, the immigrant who killed... an illegal immigrant I'm not sure where it was. Do you remember where she lives or where she's from?
Georgia, I believe.
Georgia. So Laken Riley. So
Laken. Yep.
I know it's a poorly timed joke, but I kept hearing Lincoln Riley, so I was just thinking, yeah, someone named Lincoln Riley was murdered by an illegal immigrant, and I figured all the Sooner fans would be like, boomer, baby, So, but no, it's Laken Riley. Laken, so Laken, Laken. And she was murdered by a illegal immigrant who was attempting to gratify himself on her, for lack of better terms. And since YouTube and Facebook don't like the actual R word that they use here, not racist, mind you, the stuff that guys do to ladies whenever they it's non-consensual. So he was trying to force himself on her, and she fought back, and he got nervous when she fought back, and he crushed her skull. Her skull was severely deformed and hemorrhaged. He did it so hard, and he tried to hide her body out in a park or something like that, out of sight. Now, he has been captured, but again, this points to a significantly bigger problem we have. If we had not a porous border, if we didn't have an open border, I mean, Dr. Phil went down there and was like, are we facilitating child trafficking? And the people down there were like, yeah. The U.S. government is facilitating this. They're saying, let him in. I mean, that bill that we were talking about that the Democrats were trying to weaponize against the Republicans, saying, hey, they were trying to slip in all that Ukraine and Israel funding in. But on top of that, they said 10,000 a day could come in before we actually do something to stop it. 10,000 a day. That's a ton of people. So, if he was turned around at the border, she would still be with us. But we have a porous border.
Yeah, he was caught a year before doing something illegal.
Yeah.
Well, and he was released, catch and release type situation. So
look,
he has already committed a crime.
We have to turn off this narrative that, oh, they're just coming here for a better life. What if they're just criminals who are willing to do criminal things because they came here illegally? Look, and with the vast number of people coming here, you have a lot of military-aged males, majority military-aged males are the ones coming across, and they have low socio and economic status in society because some of them don't speak the language or they don't speak it well. They can't read or write the language. They're not qualified to do anything but manual labor, so that's not going to get them any money quick anytime soon. So what does that do for the people here? None of the ladies here are in, like, if you understand how women think, women don't want to be with, you don't want to be with broke dudes. So all these guys are coming here going, oh yeah, I'll come here, get a job, and live the American dream. It's like the American dream is not what it used to be now. You can't just start working tax-free and then think that, you're going to make a little bit of money and people are going to find you appealing. I mean, women want 3 vacations a year. They want a big house. These guys can't give them that. So, as someone who just went to basic training, I understand the urges young men have. Like you'd have young guys go in the shower and I'd just be like, don't act like we don't know what you were doing in there, kid. It's like they can't control themselves because they're just like, I'm so bored and I'm so worked up. And just like, how can you not go a month or two without just letting that urge have to be released? Like, it's not that big of a thing. It's not that deep, but to some guys it is. And, shaking hands with Ben Franklin or Pamela Henderson can only do so much for you. And that's the way a lot of these guys are going to be. I mean, in Europe, this is a pretty common thing. They have no-go zones. I mean, we already have no-go zones. It's basically the city of San Francisco. That whole town's a no-go zone. L.A. That whole city's becoming a no-go zone. But this kind of stuff is going to happen because these guys have no resources, no education. And I say no education. They might have education from their country, but that education and that language barrier is not going to help them here. I'm not saying they can't succeed, but what I am saying it's very difficult, and the odds are stacked heavily against them. And everyone's just like, let them in. We need people, and literally, the Democrats always have the worst arguments for this. We need people to clean our buildings. It's like, oh wow, you need people to do menial basic labor, and the more people like that you let in, the worse paid those jobs are going to be because there's plenty of people available to do it. If there was a less of a market for that kind of job, guess what? You could pay Joe Schmo, who's the poorest person in town. He could actually argue up his salary. Be like, hey, I need more to do this job, to clean this office building. And he would have better bargaining power.
Correct.
But no, it's like, no, there's a million illegals that are ready to take your job, Joe Blow, and we don't have to pay them taxes.
Yeah.
We can pay them under the table.
That was kind of the whole thing, which, I'm not really a union person, but that was kind of the whole point of a union. Was keeping the job, with only in a certain group of people, so that way they can argue their wages higher. At least that's what it was supposed to be.
Yeah, and like I said, when you bring in an illegal, even Bernie Sanders, the most far left, crazy socialist they have in the Democratic Party, said, if you have open borders, it makes everyone poorer. And that's in a socialist utopia that Bernie Sanders is talking about. Now he's changed his mind and gone open borders. That's because he's been bought and paid for. He's trying, he's got his 3 mansions now and stuff. So he's towing the line because he knows he wants to keep his retirement comfortable. He doesn't want to go against the grain now because he's too old to care.
Yeah. That man needed to be out of politics 10, 20 years ago.
Yeah, he never should have been in politics to begin with. I mean, like I said, we have too many radical socialists involved in government as is. Now, like I said, at least I could respect his old opinion now with regards to the border. His old position was open borders is a Koch brothers ideology. That's what the Koch brothers want. That's what the billionaires want. They want open borders so they can pay people less. True. What changed? I guess the Democrats going to pay people less, so it's a better thing? But they're handing people, the people coming across the border are not just Mexicans, folks. It's Africans. It's Chinese. They're coming from everywhere.
Yeah. Honduras, Venezuela. You can't, if you are seeking safety, you don't island hop to your favorite place you want to be for your safety and security. If you're literally someone leaving on, you're a security risk in your nation. You don't island hop until, oh, here's the place I want to be. It's you go to the first place you get there, go, I'm seeking asylum here. This is it.
Yeah, I'm safe here. But this is nuts, folks. We cannot keep doing this. We cannot allow the border to stay open. We have to deport as many of these people as possible so we can help the people here that have issues. We can't take in the world. We can't solve the world's problems.
Yep.
We figured that out in the Vietnam conflict. And basically every conflict since. So the answer is secure the border, enforce it harshly, make the punishment swift and terrible to set precedent. And all these NGOs going down there and telling people how to sign forms and say, I need help. I mean, they're literally flying. I mean, if you've seen the videos of people in the airports, they're flying illegal immigrants all over the country. For what? This is crazy, folks. Like, nuts. James O'Keefe has been exposing this, and he's the former Project Veritas guy. Now he's OMG Media or O'Keefe Media Group.
Yeah,
so
O'Keefe Media Group.
And he does great work. So we have a lot of problems in this country, and we already had a lot of problems in our country, and we can't solve everyone else's problems on top of not securing our own border, because it's just leaving it open and porous is going to cause us more economic strain in the future. Period. Like I said, a lot of these people who are from Africa who got bussed up to New York, they are angry. They're like, this is not the, like, and like I said, who's selling these people these unions? Because this is not what we were told it would be like. Who told you it would be like anything? These, like I said, again, it's these NGOs in these countries being like, you should come to America. Like the Red Cross is a human trafficking organization now. They should shut down the Red Cross. They should be like, yeah, Red Cross, you're not allowed to do business here in the United States anymore. Anybody involved should be criminally prosecuted. So I don't know what agenda is at play here, but there are people convincing people from other countries to come here. And like I said, they came here in the dead of winter. Africans. Like, they've never experienced cold temperatures like that before. They're sitting on the streets fighting. They're literally fighting each other trying to get into these 5-star hotels. And these hotels are turning to crap. They interviewed a manager, and he was like, yeah, no, they'll threaten to stab you. They hide their guns. They have 10-year-old kids drinking alcohol. And they give them like $5,000 credit cards to spend money. And like I said, so New York is artificially stimulating its economy by printing more money, by giving illegal immigrants $5,000 cards to spend money with for food. And we have our own homeless living in the streets who are not able to go into the homeless shelters because illegal immigrants are taking those spots.
Yep. And like I said, going to what you were just saying is with the hotel issue. So they're getting to stay in these luxury hotel rooms. They're getting $5,000 credit cards or, debit cards, whatever you want to call it, on the government or on the state or on the city of New York, whoever it is. And I know people who live in New York, who are film students, aspiring film students, stuff like that are living in a 1-bedroom apartment
with 5 other people.
5 other people. And these illegal immigrants are getting
5-star accommodations. Yeah, they're getting food courtesy of the government. 5-star meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. On top of the cards that they can go out and spend on beer and stuff and whatever else they want to make their lives more comfortable there. So, illegal immigration, you get the 5-star treatment, while Gen Z and millennials struggle to buy homes in this country today. We got to wake up and see that this is a problem. This is an untenable problem. We cannot keep doing this.
And then all these polls showing that these young people are becoming more pro-Trump. Well, stuff like this, how could they not be? He said we can't afford anything. He said kids can't, afford a family, rent. They can barely hold a job, and we're allowing illegal immigrants in that can stay in luxury hotels and get $5,000 debit cards to buy whatever they want. Where's that for our people?
Yeah.
So this is why everyone talks about it. This is why if you have a wound and you're bleeding, you don't just cover it up. You have to stop the bleeding.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just cover it up, patch it up, and we'll move you on out the door.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, with all the money that we've sent to Ukraine and Israel, I'm positive we could have finished construction on a massive border wall with that amount of cash that we sent over there. Unbelievable. It's like we're sending it over there and we can't even solve our problems here. So, and again, an innocent girl lost her life, fought back a sex offender, but lost her life because, like, again, we live. This goes to why men and women shouldn't be playing the same sports. The guy crushed her skull. I mean, I don't care how much mixed martial arts you do, how much training you do. If a guy gets one good hit on a girl, no matter how good she is, she's going down. Period. Same with me. Like I remember watching it was like Fighting Around the World show back in like 2009 or 10. And it was where these two dudes who were, one was a wrestler, one was some type of Brazilian jiu-jitsu guy, but they just went around the world. That was their show. They went around the world testing out their martial arts against everyone else. And they went to a Buddhist monk place or Shaolin monk temple, yep. And the Shaolin monks had been training there since they were little boys, but they're all like 90 to 100 pounds, soaking wet. And they were jacked, good fighters. They looked good. But like I said, the wrestler got in the ring with them, and he just tossed them around like rag dolls. It'd be like me if going up against an NFL D lineman. It's like, I have no chance. I don't care how much martial arts I know. If he just sits on me, this fight's over. You might get lucky with as good as you are at martial arts, but there's weight classes. So like I said, this is another thing. Like, I know that's kind of an irrelevant tangent to this girl losing her life, but again, it's the same holds true. The principle stays the same. An illegal immigrant came to this country, is benefiting from our hospitality, criminally entered here, got caught once doing something else illegal, and we didn't do anything. And then he was able to find a victim, target her, attempted to assault her, and gratify his primal urges, and she fought back. And she lost her life. And he dumped her body out in the woods. So, this is what you're going to get. You're going to see more of this. And I'm sure there's more of this happening, but they're just not reporting on it. Or it's so reported in local news and national news won't pick it up because it goes against the
narrative.
The narrative that they want to sell. That, Trump's the racist. All the illegals are wonderful, fantastic people who, it's like the AOC argument. They're asylees, not illegal. Asylees can't illegally enter this country. They're legal. And it's like, no, go through the ports of entry. So, another morbid news cycle, but this is the unfortunate truth of what happens when you have cultures clash. Like, if you think all cultures are the same, you live in a bubble and you live in a fantasy world. Everyone wants to live their lives and live happily and make as much money by doing as little as possible. That's a human fact. But the things we value in culture, in society, changes from place to place. If you've been to the Middle East, they don't value dogs the way we do. My best friend who was deployed over there in Afghanistan, he was like, they just shoot dogs. They have no qualms about it. Yeah. To them, they are filthy dirty animals. You could just see a dog, they'd be petting it 1 second and then blow its brains out the other. Now, you can make the argument, there are people like that here in America that do stuff like that. Yeah, but it's common practice there. Like, they do it out in the open in the streets. Like, if you saw somebody do that in the street here, they'd be prosecuted criminally.
PETA would be all over them.
Yeah. They don't value the same things we do. They don't value children the way we do in other cultures. But here in the States, again, apparently people here in the States don't value children either. They're like, yeah, just keep this open borders, sex trafficking rings going for these young kids. Yeah. Deliver them and they can go into like I said, again, Dr. Phil. was talking about this on The View and on Joe Rogan. How the government is actively facilitating because they just deliver kids to the locations what they're like. Literally, the kids have they have numbers written on their arms. Like, this is the address I'm supposed to go to. And they just drop them off. And they go, and when we drop them off, they go, this looks like a sweatshop, or this looks like a CD. But like I said, someone comes out, claims to be their parent. I'm their guardian. And then that kid disappears into
obscurity.
Into whether it be a pedophile trafficking ring or a sweatshop ring here in the United States. Or like in Texas, that one Islamic terrorist training facility in Texas they shut down a couple of years back.
Yep.
Something like that. So all the problems stem from the open border right now, folks. The open border is the primary problem that needs to be solved. And we need to enforce it harshly and strictly. And, to me, I'd be like, hey, maybe we ought to just say weapons free down there. It's not going to take a lot to change a lot of people's mind about coming here. But that's just my opinion. But tell us what you think in the comments. Let us know if you agree, disagree, or if you have the magical solution to solve this problem. So, with that being said, I hope everyone has a wonderful day. I'm praying for the family of this Laken Riley girl. I know that they've got to be incredibly saddened by this event, so it's just not a good deal. But remember to like, share, and subscribe so you too can stay in the loop. This is the Twins with Owasso Live, and we are signing off. God bless everyone out there.